Hello world. In this video I would like to show you how I house turtles in my window well. These guys have been living here for a few years laying eggs, and I decided to give their terrarium a little bit of a facelift. Making a terrarium in your window well is not only a great way to tidy up one of those less attractive spots in your house, but more importantly, in most climates you can sustain life year round. I wanted to keep this project inexpensive, so I picked out a blue Tupperware container and an old pond filter I had lying around the house, and those will be my two main supplies needed for the project. After removing the old terrarium, I had to remove enough gravel to be able to bury the new filter and the new pond. Once I had removed enough gravel to be able to place the bin into the hole, I could make sure the bin and the filter sat just where I wanted them. When replacing the gravel, I just made sure to keep the low spot on the pond away from the house. That way, if it ever overflowed by accident or on purpose, I would know where the water was going. The rest of this window well will drain just like any normal window well should, with water flowing down through the gravel. I don't plan on there being a ton of excess water in this system. Next step was to bring in some rocks for the hardscape, and then I used some weed blocker as a barrier for where I wanted to have soil. With the hardscape in, I added a little bit more weed blocker anywhere that I wanted to have higher walls and have deeper levels of dirt. Keeping in mind that this environment was being created for turtles, I wanted to leave plenty of room for ramps and passageways so they could explore their new home. Threw in some dirt. This was a mixture of organic garden and potting soil. And then I sprayed some water on it, mainly making sure that the dirt was draining away and not going into the pond. With the substrate settled, it was time to start working on the landscape. For this project, I'm pretty much just using moss and logs. I'm sure that people could get very creative with this. My main purpose in choosing moss was to create nice soft passageways which would allow for the turtles to easily explore their habitat. I then either cut or tucked away the rest of the remaining pieces of black weed blocker, leaving nice clean edges. I also fastened the floating turtle dock to the bin using metal wire. I grabbed a water pump which I could fit with PVC to attach a hose to it and eventually hook it up to the filter, and I attached the hose to the filter. Played with how I wanted the hoses for a little bit and added a little bit more moss for decoration until I was happy. I decided to add some silicone and moss on top of the hose to hide it a little bit better. I also quickly sealed any extra seams that I might not have been so sure about. For decorating and topping, I used dry New Zealand moss, opposed to the live moss I had used previously. The moss did its job well in hiding things and creating a smooth transition in between gaps. Hopefully, it'll not only give me happy turtle bellies, but it'll also help prevent against erosion amongst the levels in the tank. I still have to deal with the wires from the pump and the filter. For now, I am just putting them into the corner of the window well. Eventually, I'll redo my PVC conduit. That can be very simply done by basically putting the wires inside some PVC pipe to protect them from water and keep them draining properly. Throughout the project, I made sure to keep the concrete outside the window clean. I didn't want to put anything that would rot or make bugs on top of it. I had to wait for the silicone to dry, but it didn't take long. You'll notice I haven't planted a ton of plants, as this is a terrarium for turtles and they can be quite destructive. I'm going to kind of wait and see what territories that they take over. I would have liked to have had some more wood to use for this. Definitely something I'll be doing in the future. Once your power is connected and your water's running without any major leaks, looks like you got yourself a terrarium. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it.